Yo YouTube, what's going on? AJ here, back again with another video, and there's no reason for me to stall, but it's important for me to give you guys about this 1 minute 30-second context real quick. So I'm assuming half of you or most of you are probably coming from MrPokke's video, the I am disappointed video, where he talks about what happened in the tournament. So what we did is, instead of like reacting to the whole video or doing it, we basically cut up the video by 10 less minutes, so it's about 13 minutes instead of his 23, basically highlighting his key points that he was making sure that the majority of what he wanted to say and what he wanted to highlight in that video is here. People still need the context. However, if you do not need that context and you're wondering where is EO's response, I'm going to put the time right about here, guys. You guys should see it on your screen now, and this is the interview that took place. Yes, so these next 30 seconds, let me talk about that real quick. Basically, I saw this, I was gonna cover the news anyway. I was gonna wait for EO to respond, and then I just messaged him and asked him, hey, would you be down to do an interview to talk about this and address his points? Every question I asked him is basically from the I am disappointed video that MrPokke did. So all the questions I asked him are things Pokke said directly, and that's these 13 minutes that I even highlighted in this video. So if you're new and you don't understand what's going on, go ahead and watch the full video, and it will give you the full context of why I asked these questions, because Pokke said it himself. If you have already seen MrPokke's I am disappointed, guys, then go ahead and just skip to the time frame. That is the full interview I conducted with EO, and I just asked him, like I said, all the questions that were asked were things MrPokke said. Without further ado, if you like the content on the channel, make sure you hit a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time, boys. Enjoy the interview.
Emotions affect what I want to say, because what I'm about to say is coming from a very logical perspective. But to kind of sum up what's up, I got bamboozled. I think by the time this video goes out, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 days later. The event I'm talking about specifically, sponsor event by Intel, I Buy Power, about this $10,000 Memory of Chaos PvP tournament. Excellent event. It was a very well organized, and considering the fact that this event was organized very like on a last minute basis, I think it was an excellent event, and I had a lot of fun, right? I think everybody that participated had a lot of fun. So why am I making this video? The context to this video is all the previous Memory of Chaos tournaments. I think we kind of established that we want to showcase like off-meta units, just kind of showcase what different units can do even without the most optimal team comps. Not for this particular event. This particular event, I guess you can call it like a serious event. Most people kind of went to this competition treating it like a serious event, right? The days leading up to the event, I basically, especially the day before the event, right? Because I got my time zones wrong and that kind of stuff. I thought it's 6 a.m. Tuesday, by 6 a.m. the next day. I basically canceled my stream. And for, I believe, the entire day, and I quite literally mean the entire day, when I woke up, I did nothing but practice Memory of Chaos, as well as the bends and picks. This went on all the way up until the event actually began in my time, which was around 6 a.m. And I quite literally did nothing but MOC, draft and bends, talking with my community who are also involved in discount PvP events for the entire day plus night. No sleep, all in, logged in for the event, 6 a.m, start up the stream, and we just kind of went in. I was definitely extremely committed to doing my best. Not necessarily to win, but I really treat this with like the most amount of seriousness, right? There's no banter, there's no war, there's no insane, there's no brain rot. It's like I was fully serious for this event. And to my understanding, for example, I think Rihu and Moon, I think they both also practice very long. Ruri, he basically does this for us, his entire channel. I can't speak about everybody, but like these are just some of the people that I know, right? So there was definitely a lot of commitment to this event. Not just to, just for the win, but also just to make this whole tournament, this event, entertaining for the audience, right? Because this is like, I think this is for the first time, like an actual, legitimately super sweaty event. That kind of brings me to the next point, which is, this is not the main reason, but it is definitely part of the reason. The prize pool for this entire tournament, it was close to $10,000 US. I'm not sure about everyone's circumstances, but to me, I don't think this was a small amount of money. TLDR, the results were first place and second place, Ruri, ZMM tied with Destiny and Moon. Third place is myself as well as my teammate. And last place is going to be Gacha and Godogos, right? And the results, I was completely, over it. Third place, 1 bomb, it is what it is. We basically lost to Destiny Moon and Rihu by a 1 cycle disadvantage. So my teammate did a 4 cycle on the first wave, and I did a 2 cycle on the second wave. Not the reason why I'm making this video, right? Because if I'm making this video just because we lost move, right, that would be, I'm a sore loser. Oh my god, why is he crying about losing all that kind of stuff? No. The reason why I'm making this video is after the tournament ended, I went back to look at the VOD. In our practice, we really did like a lot of different drafts. We did a lot of different team comps, and I would just say that my teammate, he definitely, in my opinion, the most important side to this event was the second half of Memory of Chaos, because the Avenging side, it was, if you couldn't clear it fast enough, it's gonna stall forever and it will drag on very long. And unfortunately, my teammate, his account is not quite good enough to get a consistent clear. Usually, even with an Aircron team, E1 Aircron Jiaoqiu, it was still around like a 4, 5, 6 cycle clear. My teammate is EO, and his team is gonna be Sparkle, Clara, Silverwolf, and Huan Hui. Now, leading up to this, EO was already quite upset himself because, quoting his own words, Rihu basically yoinked the comp away from EO, and he kind of have to just adapt and run this instead. We did try out the practices with Clara, and definitely the performance was not as great as the Yunli team, because with Yunli, EO was able to get a pretty consistent 1 cycle clear. But if we swapped out to Clara, then unfortunately EO's clears kind of dropped down to like 2 and 3, right? Most of the time it was 3, but if it was lucky, we could maybe squeeze out a 2, right? Maybe, but most of the time it was 3. He was going through his account, and I'm looking at the VOD, and I noticed this right here. I'm not okay though. Is some of the things that I've seen from his account is a little bit questionable. I'm thinking you guys have probably noticed. His Sparkle was at a level 75, and his Litecoin was at a level 70. Now, maybe for support, you guys could say it doesn't matter, right? Because Sparkle, she never attacks anyway, right? She's just gonna cast a skill, the health pool, she's not gonna be dying. So honestly, it doesn't really matter. And you know what? I think that's fair. And then after this is where I got quite upset. The ultimate was level 9. Now that was a DPS loss. And now you might be asking, yo, why do you care if he doesn't level up his ultimate, all that kind of stuff, right? And that is why I wanted to say the context was important. And this is just the first unit, right? The context was important because I myself, I made it quite clear to EOS the moment we got teamed up, which was random, by the way. It was a random pairing. I was like, I am fully locked in. I'm committed. I want to win. And I will do everything in my power to try to win this. And EO agreed. He also wants to win. And I'm pretty sure everybody will want to win. Who doesn't want to win a potentially 5,000 USD of grand prize split amongst 2, right? So I think we both kind of got understanding that, yep, we're not around. This is for real. Couldn't quite grasp. Why wouldn't he do everything in his power to at least maximize the chances of clearing the stage in a faster cycle? If you don't care about health or whatever, it's fine. It's chilling. But this is effectively a DPS loss because you didn't max out the ultimate. You lose out the damage percent. Okay, I'll show you guys what happened to the actual match later on. But I'll just say this definitely impacted the results of our performance. Right? Do the Sparkle. Sparkle is number 1. He literally has the materials to max this out. He literally had to press a single button and he would have leveled it up. If you don't want to spend your stamina, if you don't want a stamina refresh, I ran out of stamina, and you know what, maybe you don't want to invest in strategies, it's fine. He literally just had to press a single button and this would have been up. At first, like I mentioned, right, you know, losing, it doesn't feel good, losing is part of the game. But knowing that I was legitimately full on locked, okay, to kind of show an example of how locked in I was, aside from the planning, aside from the literal no sleep, aside from all that, I was literally prepared to pull Jiaoqiu from the ground up and his signature Litecoin if we have to play DOT. And my man here, unfortunately, couldn't afford to spare 1 ball, one of these thingies, and a little bit of tears. Oh, and 300,000 credits. Bro left his main DPS trace at 8 out of 10. He didn't even unlock the attack trace. In case you guys think that main DPS, the trace is irrelevant, whatever kind of stuff, right? 120% to 105%. It is not damage percentage, mind you. It is raw damage multiplier. You are losing 15% damage multiplier every single time you use your skill, right? Neutrally speaking, I was not too happy to know that EO didn't invest in that level 10 trace. Go to Steel Wolf.
Got it. The brakes got it.
If we are not gonna be going all in, if we are not gonna be, you know, committing to this competition, doing our best, he could have just told me. I think a simple like, yo, MrPokke, you know what? I don't really want to commit. I don't really want to level off my stuff, you know. It's just that I don't really care if we win or lose. I just want to, you know, just for the experience, right? If he had told me that from the start, then I think it would have been completely fine. I just run Steel Wolf, Qingque, Fushen, Sparkle, ran a QQ side too, and just pray to God. I wouldn't give a damn. But the thing is, I was under the impression that we were going to commit. And to see this being left out, it just really feels bad. And to kind of top up everything I've said up to this point, there's one final thing that really made me commit to wanting to talk about this. My man EO had 1,817 reserve Trailblazer power and 39 stamina potions. I couldn't even believe this was real. I genuinely could not believe this was real. And I was just speechless. Even if we lost, even if he did that and, you know, we still got a 6th cycle, I would have been 心甘情愿, right? I would have lost, like, you know, at least EO tried, you know? At least he's really committed. Because EO did try, right? We called for very long as well. Probably not as long as me, but we did get into call. We discussed a lot of team comms, a lot of strategies. We talked it out. We discussed extensively. So he definitely did try. Not to say like I have any bad blood. In fact, I even dropped EO a DM, right? Okay, kind of just show you guys a little bit. I've dropped EO a DM before I kind of want to talk about this today. I'm gonna yell about a few experience. I'm gonna grill you for your cases. So this was his response. In a way, y'all expect me to 10 supports or Clara. And at this point, I don't really want to get too ragey, too emotional, but it's all good. I am basically quite upset that this happened to my teammate. To be fair, he also brought this up when I was reviewing just now. So this was one of my viewers. The real question is, why is EO rolling up to a 5,000 tournament with non-max levels, light cones, and relics? All my light cones and characters were maxed. Ho-Oh doesn't need to be at level 80. That is basically kind of why. I don't believe this is drama. I don't believe this is me saying I hate EO, he ruined my life. And I believe you can disagree with others if they f***ed up something. After everything combined together, after, you know, the pre-phase, right? I said I was locked in. He said he was locked in. A lot of players were locked in. There's a pretty big prize pool on the line. I stayed up all night, practiced all the drafts, practiced all the Memory of Chaos, tested out so many different team comms, get into a call, all that, only to find out that my teammate has 1,800 reserve stamina that he could have used to at least potentially change the impact of the battle. It just doesn't feel right. Quick, before we just wrap up this video, EO himself, he was also angry right after we ended the call, we ended the tournament. He came back to the stream because at this point I was still clueless about his traces and all that kind of stuff. So I was still pretty chill. You can just go watch about the VOD. I was upset that we lost, but I was still pretty chill. We even got a call. We played PvP in my stream offline. We were all chilling, right? And then EO was like, he was also upset that we lost because Rihu stole the exact same team comp he wanted to run. Rihu stole EO's Yunli and he stole the Black Swan. He stole the exact same thing that EO would have run. So he felt like, you know, oh my god, he took all my shit and now I have nothing to play. I think in a PvP where, you know, Yunli is one of the best units in our current Memory of Chaos, I don't think it's too surprising that people are going to want to pick her. And like, what's the point of us going through so many different team comps before the tournament started if we are only going to be focusing on Yunli team comp? You get what I'm saying? Because this was not Jover. But because EO's team comp, he was so restricted to this Yunli, he was hyper-focused. Okay, I'm going to get Yunli. I'm going to get Yunli. And the moment we didn't get Yunli, he just kind of He almost gave up. You definitely have to open your options. You can't just one trick Yasuo main and you go into roles and if people ban Yasuo, you just run it down mid, right? It doesn't work that way. Again, like I mentioned, absolutely nothing personal with EO. I still think he's a great guy. He's very funny, right? He's caring. I just think that for this specific event and the actions that he did or did not do in this specific event, I think it shouldn't have been the case. Either you let me know that you are not going to spend that 1,800 stamina, or you commit and at least we both try our best in what is collectively known as a pretty serious competition. I think that would be fair to me as well. That is pretty much what I want to talk about.
All right, yo, YouTube, what's going on? So after the Pokke situation, hearing his side, we have a couple questions. We have EO here. Ioku, what's up, bro?
Yo, what's going on, big dog?
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, so we want to go over a couple questions that we have for you in place of the whole Pokke situation going on. And so first off, I want to ask about the tournament. How long were you guys in a call for? Like, how long did you and Pokke prep for this tournament together?
Okay, so based off what Discord tells me, him and I had a call prior to the group DM that he created for me in he calls them the Goon Squad. So I'm just gonna call them the ladies because they were nice. But the ladies, which is super cool. Shout out to them, by the way. But before he added me to that, Pokke and I had a call for about an hour. Within that call, which was, mind you, if we want a time frame, right after his stream on Thursday, we had that call. And that call lasted about an hour before he left to go to bed. Within that hour, we pretty much were talking about, what was it? The draft and all the different possibilities behind the draft, what could happen, what couldn't happen, yada, yada, things like that. I wasn't aware of his stream because I'm just not watching whatever's going on at this point. But TLDR, he was doing the draft there instead of doing it in call with me. So I'm under the assumption that we're going to do the drafting together, which wasn't necessarily the case. It turned into, I've already done these like ideas for a draft. Here's what we're going to do, or here's what we should do. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's talk about this. Let's look at this. Let's do that, yada, yada. In the process of doing that, that's when I got added into the group DM because he was going to sleep. And he's like, let me have them kind of walk you through things and you guys talk over whatever's possible. I'll see y'all in like 4 to 5 hours when I wake up. Now, I'm not upset at this because I know time zones are completely different. So it's probably like 1, 2 a.m. for him, somewhere around there.
Right.
So it's rightfully within his reason to go to sleep, right? I'm not asking him to stay up or anything like that. I didn't expect him to stay up or anything like that. I think prior to that, though, I was awake. I was up while he was streaming. So we could have done anything instead of the 5 hours he was drafting.
And you would say there's a huge it felt like going into this tournament that was like this 48-hour period, you would say other teams were more so in call prepping. You feel like there was a lack of communication between you and Pokke, correct?
Yeah, so as far as what I'm aware of, and so I won't mention like who said what specifically because I know that some people don't want to be brought into this, but
100%.
Everyone that's a part of the tournament, all of us that were involved, everyone that's accounted for, each one of them have all like, hey, we were in the call for all of Thursday and like half of Friday before the tournament started. Or we were in call all night Thursday and then got right back in the call Friday morning. Now I know personally, because of Moon, my relationship with Moon and then Rihu, we all share Discord together anyway. They were in call all of Thursday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They were in call. I know what they were doing. I know, and this is of course after, right? I didn't do any kind of like cheating or something like that. So I didn't really care to like jump in there and figure out what they were doing, but she's in call the entire time with Rihu. Now, backstory, I have participated in PvPs before, right? I think we all have, for the Creator Cup. Moon is just that type of teammate. She's gonna be in call, she's gonna try and grind stuff out, figure out different game plans, the wonky teams, what could work with what. If something gets banned, we can use as a backup, blah, 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 blah. That's where, I don't remember specifically which run it was, but that's how I ended up getting a run with like Yukong on my team. And I had to learn how to use Yukong specifically for that team. I hated it, but we made it work because she was looking at all the different options. So that's just how she is. Rihu hasn't actually been in one of the Creator Cups. So it was really good for him to be paired up with Moon because she pretty much put him through the ringer. And I know that, they were doing essentially what Pokke was expecting of me, which is, hey, you should max out your traces, you should have done this, you should have tested this. It's like all of these things are something that you would ideally do with a teammate, because at the end of the day, you guys are a team. So when I'm looking at it from that perspective and how I'm used to it, because every win that I've had has been with Moon. I've had one win without her, but PvP wise, every win that I've had is with Moon. Every loss that I've had is against Moon, ironically enough. So, that's the kryptonite, if you will. But
strategy, yeah.
Right.
Bouncing ideas off each other.
Right. We kind of just know. She knows my account. I know her account. But it's a lot easier for her to, and this is like one of those weird things where obviously you can't prove it without being me or her. She's very adept at being able to snipe what I want to pick without me showing what I want to pick. And it's not because of me, it's because of my opponent. Knowing what I have eliminates half of her thinking process, which means if we just take out what EO has, or what I know EO is really strong with, that leaves my opponent, or rather in this case, my teammate. It leaves my teammate with the, hey, what am I gonna get? How do we fix up EO and make sure that I get what I'm looking for? Right. So it's like going up against EO versus Moon is usually the easiest snipe.
Right. Okay. And I wanted to transition into that, considering that you were talking about how we got on the subject of traces. He questions your commitment to winning and says you could have let him know you were not all in because you did not level up your traces. He said you had reserved stamina and fuels that you could have used. How do you rebuttal, or what's your response to that claim?
I think that's bull. Can I say that? Or do I gotta say
go
BS?
ahead. All you, go ahead.
I think it's bull. I've tried to talk to him in DMs about it and explain that that's also bullshit. And even during the call that we had on his Twitch, I was pretty much telling him like that doesn't change what you think it does. And the reason I'm saying that is because while both of us know values and we understand like, it's a 1.5% increase, as he explained, that doesn't change the 3 cycle to a 2 cycle. It doesn't change the 4 cycle to a 2 cycle. And it doesn't change a 3 cycle into a 1 cycle, given whatever team we decided to use. So that's just being used as a pin of blame so that it's the easiest target. I'm going to be upset about this. I'm going to blame this because it's the one clear thing in front of me that I feel like would have changed the game, when in reality, that wouldn't have changed the game. Now, you wouldn't have this in your video, but I would in mine, and it doesn't change anything. Even if I were to take the traces to 10-10-10 with Sparkle and do whatever with Silver, it doesn't change the 3 cycle to a 2 cycle. Right. And even with my traces being exactly what they were in the tournament, I'm still able to get the 3 cycle. Both Brax and Volkin can attest to that, because while Pokke was deafened, I was in call still with them during intermission, and they all saw they saw the 3 cycle, and they're both like, dang, too bad this couldn't have been the run, because we really want to see Clara again. So it's not about like I can't do it or that traces were stopping me from getting the 3 cycle. And while we're on the topic, I don't want to make it seem like I'm not aware of how powerful a trace upgrade can be. But I also don't want it to be like, hey, if you would have done this trace upgrade, it would have drastically changed the outcome of the game, which isn't the case, right? So like, you can be upset about the traces, you can be upset about whatever, that's perfectly fine. I'm salty about it, like the loss. There's no reason to make it out as like, hey, this one sole thing is the reason why we lost, when there's so many other factors at play as to why we didn't both perform at our best as a team. Because what it looks like is I'm sandbagging, which for those that don't know that term, sandbagging just means where I'm purposely deciding to lose, or I'm holding my opponent back, which isn't the case at all. What's happening is there was I won't say no, there was a lack of communication when it comes to what we can and can't do, what we should or shouldn't do, and overall team preparation before the tournament. And what we did practice with, we being me and I don't want to name them, but he knows, right? Me and the group DM of people that were in there, the other theory crafters and PvP players. So while we're in there testing all types of different teams, we went through about 5 or 6 different team comps. Not all featured around Yunli, not all featured around Clara. And we decided which one would be best and which one would be like the safest to go for. That's why Clara was a backup to Yunli. And that's why we eliminated things like Acheron, because it made no sense for us to have like Acheron on the table, and I'm the one without E2 Acheron, and Pokke has E6, so he can't use it at all. So it's like it's free game for our opponent to pick up Acheron at that point. So we're like, we have to get it off the table. It had nothing to do with whether or not I could clear in 2 cycles, 4 cycles, 5 cycles, 6 cycles, anything like that. Because even that statement in itself was skewed, and that wasn't entirely true. But I mean, I get it. You're gonna paint, you know, whatever it is out of frustration. It is what it is.
The next question I have for you, going even off that with your explanation, is he says toward the end of his video as well that you were very focused or hyper fixated on getting Yun Li, that when you didn't get Yun Li, his words were you almost gave up, or giving the sense of like that maybe, you know, you were kind of in like this little bit of despair, just been like, oh man, whatever. What do you say to that?
There was definitely some despair because I wanted Yun Li.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
there wasn't like, oh man, I'm gonna give up. It's the end of my life now.
100%.
The PvP's over. Like, there was no sentiment that I gave off that was like that at all. It was more so like, okay, what do we do now? Because during the drafting process, and as I'm looking at the draft sheet now, Pokke's team was secured. It's fine. No matter how the draft went, he was a-okay. You know, running March 7th, even after talking with, because all of us got in call except Pokke, all of us got in call after the event was over. Excuse me. Yeah. And we talked about who did what was going on, what play was what, yada yada, this and that. And both Rihu and Destiny were like, dang, we didn't expect him to go March 7th. We know we were looking at Jing Liu, like we thought you were gonna pick up Jing Liu because they knew I had an E1 Jing Liu. And they're like, we thought you were gonna go Jing Liu and like struggle on the second side. That's why we were sniping things, because we wanted to like crucify your side, right? Like put a crutch on your side. And then we thought Pokke was just gonna crush the first side. And so I'm like, okay, so that didn't happen. But yeah, we tested a bunch of other stuff. And overall, I just wasn't doing, I guess the term locking in, it wasn't that I'm not locked in. It wasn't that I gave up or anything like that. It was more so that Pokke, in the process of him streaming and trying to talk to me while being deafened and trying to talk to the group DM within a span of 3 to 5 minutes during the off-stream drafting process, it wasn't enough, right? There's no way he can be in 3 places at once, give me his full attention, or give the draft its full attention, and try and figure out something on the spot. On top of that, it made it worse that the others in the group DM, they knew what was on my account because they were watching me like progress the account. They'd watch me run test, change builds, go find relics, farm for different traces, whatever, this, that, and the third. Pokke was not there. So the entire time that I'm doing these things, mind you, I'm in that call for what Discord says, 6 hours. So I'm in that call Thursday, 6 hours, again Friday, another 6 hours. So collectively, I'm over 12 hours. I'm in the call with his group. I'd say that collectively he was in the same call no more than 2 hours tops, and that's me being generous.
100%.
You would easily know these things about my account, or like what I'm attempting to do, what's being tested, what could be done, if you were there watching instead of working on your own.
Right, and it just falls back to sort of that lack of communication, or that team communication.
Correct.
And so one more thing that I have 2 more questions for you. One thing I want to ask you was a constant driving point for his video is that he felt like you weren't giving it your all. That's at least what he was feeling, because multiple times he kept saying that if he knew you weren't going to do this with the stamina or upgrade traces and you weren't all in or committed, you should have let him know so you could have done something fun like Mono Quantum. I want to ask you, EO, throughout the tournament, were you giving it your all 100%? And did you just say, F it, I don't really care? Was that your mentality, or did you go in, even with the whole Yun Li situation, everything like that, just going in to just win the prize, win first place?
I mean, it's right, 5K split, right? So obviously I'm going in there to win.
Right.
And I'm not I know it's a meme, like as a fighting game player, I don't go anything I don't go into anything competitive with the mindset to lose or to not give it my all. I understand that everyone has their own, you know, vices, League of Legends players, Valorant players, things like that. I've never met a single fighting game player that pays money to go to a tournament, because like it's not free, right? We have to pay to go to the event. pay to get the flight ticket, pay to go, and then FGC events are way more expensive than, you know, like a Pokemon event, right? I do both. Pokemon is like $40, you know, and you enter and you play all games. You don't get knocked out if you lose 2. Fighting games, you're paying well over $100 just to enter, and then if you lose 2, you're out. GG's. You do nothing for the rest of the event. So we're one of the only few communities that pay to lose, essentially, not on purpose, right? We pay with the intent to win, but at the end of the day, if you don't win, you don't bring back anything home, then, you know, you wasted money. And so I've never gone into anything with the mindset of like, I'm a bullshit. I'm just not that type of person. For him to think that without even addressing it towards me, but he feels that way, I'm not gonna lie to you, Chief, it's 100% just a blame game.
Right.
Like it's him blaming something or someone for the lack of, or ineptitude of us not working together. Because that, again, the traces aren't gonna magically change the cycle clear for us to win. If anything, it changes it to a tie. Tie is bad for both of us because of the team that they had. It one taps Apocalyptic Shadow. Anyone that I've talked to about this, I've done it off stream. They've already done it. Like it one taps Apocalyptic Shadow. Easy. Like there's no issues with a Mei and a Boot Hill and a Yun Li. Out of all the characters to go against an Apocalyptic Shadow, they don't care. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when we're looking at it that way, and then I'm also pointing at the fact that me playing the game and doing whatever I want to try and win, I wouldn't have reset if I didn't care. I would have quite literally gone in there, not participated in anything, not really gave a fuck about anything, no resets. I wouldn't have been like, you would have heard it in my voice, like, whatever, you know, it is what it is, bro, fuck it, you know, I don't care. A lot of that would have came out of my mouth instead of me being frustrated and angry. Even you can actually see this in his chat. He's laughing about it, like he's in a jolly mood, but I'm pissed. Like I'm visibly typing in his chat, I'm pissed, I'm mad.
Yeah. So
the idea or concept of him ignoring that, and he's reading it and responding to it. Chat is like, bro, you threw, why are you mad? Yeah, da, 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 da. I'm pissed because 1, 2, 3, 4. And like he's, you know, he-ing about it. Nah, it's cool, bro. You don't have to be mad about it. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like he kept repeating it. Where would you get off assuming that I'm not taking that serious? When I'm gonna fake be mad? I'm gonna come into your chat and fake be mad? No, I just leave.
Yeah.
All right, bro. We sandbag. Good job, everybody. I'm out of here. Like, do I look like going to somebody else's stream and be like, hey man, I'm mad. Here's why. Like my partner of all people. Let me go engage with my partner on why I'm mad about losing. Come on, dude. That doesn't make sense.
100%.
It's just him pointing the blame, you know? Yeah. And again, I've been salty. Like I'm the worst person to be around when I lose in a tournament, especially if I paid money. So the only difference was this was in the comfort of my own home. If we're anywhere else, don't talk to me. I'm not a nice person when I lose tournaments. Okay, I become a dickhead, and I don't like it. I'm not proud of that, but it is what it is. Okay, many people can attest to that. Yeah. And given the situation that we have here, like it is what it is, right? Yeah. I'm not sandbagging. There was no, I'm attempting to lose. There, I don't take it as seriously. It's quite literally the things that could have happened to help us win, you did not contribute to. The things that, why is my dog barking? So what happens as far as like the communication part goes, there were things that could have been done to, I don't want to say guarantee the win, although I feel like it could have been guaranteed win, but there were things that could have been done to elevate the possibility for us to win, right? Like increase our chances of winning, which would have just straight up been more communication. Let's get together and practice. And I know that from the DMs that him and I have, his reasoning as to why Moon and Rihu won is because she had Ruan Mei. It's not a testament to her skill. It's not because they practiced for days. Like his reason that he sent me was because, oh, well, she had Ruan Mei, so it's a guaranteed 1 to 2 cycle. Right. It's like, dude, no, like they sat there and practiced, you know, especially for her to run a no sustain. That wasn't random. Like they had the whole draft to pick a sustain. We actively watched them pick no sustain. That was planned. So it's like they practiced that, or at least she practiced that. And for you to like, it is what it is, right? Whatever. Like, nah, that was just kind of sheer luck at the draw. During the draft, both of us were surprised. Me, him, the group, everybody like, oh shit, no sustain. What is she gonna, like, no way she's gonna no sustain side 2. That's crazy. Who's doing that? No, she has to have Aventrian on her side or whatever it was, right? Like we were all, or Locha, we were all thinking that, and then she didn't do it. So I'm like, dude, there are multiple factors as to why we lost, and it's not my traces. The traces would have made us a tiebreaker, bare minimum, but the end result, based off another day of testing, all we had to do was swap. And I'm thinking of this post-draft, right? If I were to ignore everything, no communication, no whatever, right? He's in stream while the event's going on. You know, everyone else is in call talking, and he's deafened in call. Everyone, Smack and Doggos are in call together. ZMM and Rue are in the call together, like, because in Discord it says team 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. All of them in their respective calls. He's deafened talking to stream and commentating over the event over the commentators. So I'm like, dude, you could easily be in here. We could be like planning whatever the fuck before we get called on to start the draft. No, we're not doing that. So that didn't happen. But the answer is, all we had to do was swap from Topaz to Silver. By the time you release this video, my video may or may not be out. But whoever's watching this, just go look and see if it's there. It'll probably be there. If not, it'll be up there soon. But I actually have both runs. If we would have swapped Topaz Topaz to put on my team with Clara and Silver to put on his team with March, we actually would have had the highest chance of winning. We would have came back with a 2 cycle, which is significantly better than a 3 or 4 that I would have performed at. We would have came back with a 2 cycle consistently, right? There's no reset. I don't have to reset. It's just guaranteed to. I could 2 cycle the bitch on auto. That's how easy it was, right? And then on his side, it's a 2 cycle, but at the best, it's a 1 cycle. And there have been consistent clears from, again, people that I don't want to name right now, but I will say Telos did give me permission to name her. Telos is one of the few people that actually went and tested that side and just did it. I watched her do it. She was in the Discord, 1 cycle. It took her 2 tries. First try was a 2 cycle. The second time was a 1 cycle. After that, it was another 1 cycle. So it's like all we had to do was swap the sub DPSs and it would have given us better results. But this is something that, 1, we would have had to know by testing and prepping and just knowing the teams or whatever. And 2, something that we would have had to communicate, which was not the case whatsoever, because side 2 didn't need Topaz. You're already imaginary resistant. Topaz does nothing for that. And March also isn't, March isn't using follow-up attacks in the same fashion that Topaz is going to make her benefit from. If anything, Silver removes the imaginary weakness or resistance, implants imaginary weakness, gives them 20% imaginary resistance debuff or whatever it is, and gives them defense reduction, which then turns March into a DPS and Silver into a sub DPS. You could also make, since he has E2 as well, at least I believe he does. If he doesn't, I think it's just, maybe it's E1, I don't know. But with E1 or higher, you can turn Silver into a sub DPS. It might be E2 for sure with like the crit build, but from my testing, at least on my account, I can make my Silver a crit. So E1 Silver, I know for a fact, can turn into a crit. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much all it is, right? Like so many different factors that would contribute to whether or not we come back with a dub. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing the, it's Pokke's fault, it's Pokke's fault, because dude, we're on the same team. Right. 100%. If I fuck up, you fuck up, right? Because like if I don't win, you don't win. If you win, I win, right? Like there's no, I did, like, and I say it this way because it's super relatable. League of Legends. I won my lane, so I don't care what happens to the other 4 players. No, it's a team-based game. No. Yeah. Like I should care about the other 4. Hey man, mid is losing. I don't care about that, bro. That's mid's job. I cleared my top lane. Go help mid. Or get the jungle to help mid something, right? Like win the game, because the game is more important than your one lane. Yeah. And it as simple as that, like 100%. I'm not, like, and my whole thing about this currently, it's not even that I'm not taking accountability for anything as far as traces go, because even during his stream, I said, you know what? I didn't think to do that in the 3 to 5 minutes that we had after draft to build the team. I didn't think to max out the traces. That's my bad. But he's so focused on this should have already been done. Why would I do something for a bunch of characters that I'm just not playing? That doesn't make sense to me, to waste resources on something that I'm just not using. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, 100%. If I'm not driving one of my cars, I don't have multiple cars, but I'm just saying, if I'm not driving one of my cars, why would I keep the gas tank full knowing it's been sitting in the lot for 2 years?
Right. No, yeah, that makes sense. 100%. The final question I kind of want to just put a wrap to this entire interview is, he basically says that he had sent you a DM. He shows his DM in his video about how he's going to grill you about your traces. And he kind of goes on this little 20-minute tangent that basically led to me asking you for the interview. He says there's no drama between you and him while posting that video towards the end. I want to ask you, in your situation, how do you feel about his sort of response? And I know you will go in depth if you make your response or not, but I want to ask, just the video, him saying no drama, and you know how the gacha community can get, right? How do you feel overall about this entire situation now?
I think this is the 20th time this has happened, not just with me. With me, it's the third, possibly fourth. I don't keep count of the fourth, so I don't know, but I know the three. But it is probably the 90th time with the gacha space in general and Pokke's community since he's grown. Pokke has a knack for feigning ignorance, where he pretends I don't know what my community does. I don't know the influence that I hold over my own community. So when they go do something, I have no idea. Oh man, I don't read YouTube comments, or I don't read Twitch chat, so I didn't even know they were doing that. It's like, dude, you kind of have to know, right? Like, they're not coming from nowhere. No one else's community besides technically Tectones, but even then, they're one and the same at this point, because they share a lot of mutuals within the space, community wise, not like specifically them and their mutuals. I mean, the members of the community, they're 50%, if you will, right? Just half and half. Doesn't really matter how you spin it. Point being is that a lot of them act very rampant whenever there's something to latch onto or attack. To pretend that you have no idea this is going on is ridiculous. So when you say no bad blood, no drama, whatever, but then you open the gates, or you don't, I should say, you don't stop or attempt to stop, correct it, police it is another term you could use. When you don't do any of that, the community that you have that is running rampant, that the rest of the gacha space knows is pretty fucking rampant, that's a problem.
Right.
I have no bad blood with Pokke as a person, but I do have issues with how he feigns ignorance to what his community does, or in him enabling his community and pretending that he doesn't.
Right.
It's one of those things that's super weird to me personally. But I don't bring everything to YouTube or whatever to make content and drama out of, because everything doesn't need to be that way. The DM specifically, just to clarify it here as well for people that might not watch my video, whatever. This isn't so much taken out of context, but from what I gathered when he spoke on this, this was his tipping point, is what I heard from his video. And it was a tipping point because he felt that this was an attack or a shot at his community and him, something like that. I don't know. I'm not familiar with what he's specifically trying to point at with that. But this wasn't that at all. This was a response to, and I actually have it written down here, the DMs are about 10 hours apart, 8 hours apart, something like that. By the point that I'm waking up, he's already DM'd me that he's going to do this, which means 6 to 7 hours have gone by of him either already doing it or having not started it yet.
Right.
Once I'm awake, I have 3, 4, 5 DMs, 10 ats in my main Discord, all saying the same. Yo, Pokke's railing your Pokke's talking mad, Pokke's this, Pokke's that about me. So I joined the Discord, not Discord, I joined the stream. It's around 7 a.m. my time. And I'm just lurking 20 minutes, right? Chilling, listening to him, go off the rails, talk shit, do whatever, just get his frustrations out. And as I'm looking at him do that, I'm also seeing chat talk about traces, and he should have maxed his Clara. If he maxed his Clara this, he should have maxed Ho-Oh. Doesn't he know that Ho-Oh has the best blah, 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 blah. Why is his Ho-Oh skill not maxed? That's dumb. No, who doesn't max their healer? All kinds of shit. And then that's when I send the message. And I say, there's no way you and your chat expect me to max a bunch of supports to 10, 10, 10 that I don't normally use, or Clara. Because Clara, which he would have known this had he been in the call with me and the rest of the squad, the PvPers in that group DM, my Clara was nowhere near maxed. I'd already invested in the Clara in preparation that we weren't getting Young Lee, which is why her ult and talent were 10-10 and her skill was 8. Specifically because I asked, hey, do I need to go ahead and max the skill? No, you only need to worry about ult and talent. She's gonna get countered anyway. All you care about is ult and talent. You can leave the skill as an 8. Cool. Done. That same question was asked for a multitude of characters, including Sparkle. So again, as I said in his stream, had he been there, he would have been able to check these things and give his input. But since he wasn't present, he couldn't actually give the input, because now there's two conflicting what I should or shouldn't do.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, that about wraps up all my questions. I'm glad you got, do you feel like you got out of these questions that were asked, you got everything out that you kind of wanted to say as far as what I asked you?
Yeah, I mean, you asked the questions, you know, I pretty much gave you the answers to them. A lot of the stuff was things that I'd already either written out to respond to, or it was just easy enough for me to kind of answer because it's all fresh, right? It just recently happened, so
100%.
A lot of this stuff is there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't hate him. I'm not mad at him like for any of the tourney shit or anything like that. I just we're not gonna play the blame game, dude. Like that's my whole thing, right? Like there's not gonna be a one-man blame where it's entirely EO's fault. EO lost me 5K. Like that's just not how that works at all. That's not what happened. There's so much context missing to why things happened the way that they did and what could have prevented it. That's all.
Right. Yeah, thank you, EO. Thank you so much for your time, for even doing the interview. I appreciate it. Thank you for also saying peace and giving context to the entire situation.
For sure, bro. No problem.
All right. Yep, that's it, YouTube, for this interview. Thanks, everybody. Support EO down in the comment section. Go to his channel, Ioku EO. He's got 2 of them, ZZZ1 and HSR. I'll put the links down in the description below. But yeah, thank you to EO again for doing this.
No problem.